In Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, developer Massive Entertainment will transport us to the incredible world of James Cameron's sci-fi blockbusters. But unlike the studio's previous Division games, Frontiers of Pandora is played in first person. This is something that, well, a lot of you have issues with. With such striking protagonists as the blue cat-like Na'vi, it's understandable why many people would like to play in third person. So why is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora in first person? We asked the developers themselves to find out.
We want you to feel immersed and feel like you're really on Pandora. So it was never really a big discussion for us.
The game was always first person, like as far as I can remember, and this is something that we were completely in agreement with Lightstorm. The main reason, I think it's very simple, and I think people can inherently understand it, that while the Na'vis are amazing, they have superhuman strength, they have superhuman senses, they are stars, but the world of Pandora and the detail that we can do now, that is also an enormous star. And to be as close to Pandora as possible, to be as immersed into it as you can possibly be, which is the first person perspective to me, was a no-brainer for us to go there and to be on Pandora as much as we possibly can, for you to be as immersed as you can with the visuals, with the audio, and to be as physically close.
And the very best way of doing that is being in first person.
I am not sending you to your doom. Go on. Trust me, my young.
With this philosophy, Frontiers of Pandora follows in the footsteps of other games that have placed immersive, tactile environments at the forefront of the experience. Games like Thief, Dishonored, and BioShock. But while many games that value immersion stay locked in the first-person perspective, in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, you won't be seeing the entire game through the eyes of your Na'vi protagonist. When it comes to flying through Pandora's skies, the camera pulls right out to allow your Na'vi and their Ikra mount to take center stage. However, as with Massive's reasoning for using first person, this second perspective is all about Pandora rather than your character.
We decided to use the third-person camera for the Banshee, or the Ikran, because of the framing that it provides on the world. Like, we really liked that FOV change. Like, you can see a lot of like the tree branches and the leaves and all of those things, like from the wings in third person, that you wouldn't really be able to see if you were in first person. And same thing, you know, when you cut through the waterfalls with your wings, you know, you get to see that part of the Banshee get wet, and you get to see the water kind of run off. Like, those kind of details, I think, would be really difficult to see. So we thought that, you know, third person for those moments was just like the perfect way to showcase that.
The switch between first and third person perspectives for mounts will likely have many people asking why Frontiers of Pandora couldn't offer the ability to switch between viewpoints at will. After all, Starfield developer Bethesda has long offered that choice in its RPGs. But Massive says that such a system is not simple to implement, as the two perspectives require very different approaches.
If you want to have high quality of both, you have to make a decision very early. And our decision was to go with first person. It's double the work. It may not be obvious, but it is. It's two different games, and we talked about how in our game you can touch the world in different ways, also when you're harvesting or when you're hunting or just moving around. If you are third person, that becomes tiny little pixels touching tiny little pixels, and you don't get that particular sense of place and immersion that we really wanted this game to have.
By sticking to the first-person perspective, Massive has been able to focus on creating incredibly detailed, intricate animations that show the world of Pandora close up.
The tactility of being there in first person, of touching things, of acknowledging it. As you go through a doorway, you know, you might put your hand on it as you sort of move through it. When you're harvesting, you grab the fruit, you know, as you twist the controller, the hand is in concert with what you do, and that sort of mimics the tactility that comes from that, and the connection and the increased immersion that comes from that. It's been a huge focus for us. And, you know, with our mimetic harvesting systems, you know, pushing foliage aside, a very, very tactile experience, that all sort of meant first person was the way to go.
Putting the camera directly in the head of your protagonist comes with another benefit too. It really emphasizes just how tall a Na'vi is. Seriously, humans are like children in comparison.
That sense of scale, I think, is a really important thing for our game. The main enemies are humans, and some of the main combat spaces that you fight in are human spaces, so you really get to feel that scale difference. We worked so much with the sense of scale and trying to get that right, because it's not always as easy as you might think.
Being 3 meters tall or 10 feet or something, I think it's in Imperial, is a huge part of it. And that scale is something that's so fun. You go up to a foot soldier and they're quite small, and then you kick them or punch them and they go flying. And it's great fun and a great show of strength. The human environments, the RDA, the bad guys, they're built for human size. So often when you have to go into a control room, you have to like crouch down and you go through this tiny doorway and you really feel your size when you do that.
And so that's why Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is in first person. For more about the game, check out our hands-on preview, and for everything else, stick with IGN.